I'm going to open up this. He's recorded. Okay. I'm going to open up the stage and allow our man, Jake Smith, to introduce himself and tell y'all a little about himself before we get started. So, Jake, it is all you.
All right, man. Thank you. So for those people that don't know me, my name's Jake Smith. I run a digital marketing agency. We've been doing it for 4 years. We specialize with Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn ads. And I rather just leap right into it. Obviously, we named our company after what we do, which is LeverageAttention. We come from an engineering background. I actually got accepted to Cal Poly, but I couldn't afford it at the time. So I just started my entrepreneurial journey right then and there.
Awesome. All right. So today we're going to be doing like a more, wait, you have stuff to present, right, Jake?
I can. So my proxy on my computer, if you guys can't tell, I'm on my phone because my Wi-Fi was having issues. So I do have things to show, and I'm pretty well at verbalizing them. I could even flip screen and show you guys just to give you some like instant value right off the bat and like have some things click that I think most people miss when they start their marketing journey. But my thing is that I really enjoy doing Q&A because it's so direct and they get instant answers. So it's up to you guys. I can flip the screen and we can try that, and I can show you guys some things that I think most people miss, which is nice for knowing the process. And then we can jump into Q&A. You want to give that a shot?
Yeah, let's try that out for sure.
All right, man. Let me flip this screen. All right, so you guys are actually, let's make sure that this isn't too terrible. Let me go what I was going to show you guys. So this is actually me in one of my clients' ad accounts. And I think really and by all means, somebody pause me if it's like too terrible on the blur. I will zoom in and get closer. But I wanted to show you guys, we're in Facebook Ad Manager right now. And so I hit the create. And I think a lot of people miss that there are these categories. And it'd be cool if you guys did a poll of like who has ran Facebook ads. Not boosted, by the way. We're not boosting. We're actually running ads. But a lot of people don't understand that this actually tells a story. So a lot of people will only try to go for conversions. And if they're in e-commerce, they'll try to go for catalog sales. And they really focus primarily right here, right? Because in a business, don't get me wrong, the lifeblood is the sales. But what a lot of people don't get, and they rush, especially in the beginning, is that you have to have engagement before you get sales, and you have to have awareness before you get engagement. So a lot of people sleep on how cheap it is to get reach and having a strategic process for, and actually, I wonder if I could pull it up. I'm not going to get too far off track because I don't want the wireless to be an issue. I'll send this stuff to you guys via an email. And so in other words, reach is the least expensive ad to run. It can cost you cents. And what you do is the process is if you imagine a giant circle right here, right? Let's say that you guys have an audience size of 1 million people. You're not going to capture them all. You're not going to reach them all. Maybe it's your budget, whatever it might be. But so what you do is you run a reach campaign. You do $5 a day. You're going to start actually reaching people that are engaging with it. And what you're doing is you're shrinking your circle. So you go from audience size to people that you've reached to people who have engaged. And then what's nice is instead of going, hey, Facebook, out of these 1 million people, I want you to find people that are going to buy. You actually say, hey, Facebook, I want to retarget people that we've reached and that we've engaged with, which is a smaller circle, and say, we want those people to buy. So it makes it a lot easier for Facebook to actually find these people that convert. Does that make sense? Is this working? I see some head nods. So I'll continue.
I think as well, yeah.
And then I want to show you guys, here's inside of our LinkedIn Business Campaign Manager. I want to show you that it's the same thing, right? They're telling you what the steps are. You got awareness, consideration, conversion. And then we have Pinterest, we have TikTok, but I didn't find the relevancy in showing all of them. I just wanted you guys to see that. And then I don't know if we have any fans of Russell Brunson, but he did a really good job breaking down what an automated sales funnel looks like. So this is steps as well. So right here we have traffic. This is any traffic, by the way. You guys be as broad as you want, whether you're on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, you know, and obviously strategic. If you're doing B2B and you're only servicing other clients, you're on LinkedIn. If you're doing e-com and your thing's very visual, you're going to be on Pinterest and Instagram. Everyone's on Facebook, just so you know, so you're pretty much always marketing on Facebook. Real estate people, you're doing Google and YouTube, because Google has the data that actually shows if you're a homeowner or not, but that's your traffic category. The objective is to get traffic to go to your funnel. Now, a funnel's typically a 3-phase process, right? You got your landing page, your detail, and then your purchase. So let me cover that up. I only got one hand, so bear with me. So after the funnel's complete, as soon as they give you the email, what's nice is they'll go into a follow-up funnel. That's pretty much your email sequences right afterwards. So now you got news feeds, you got updates on holiday sales going out to them. And then the objective is pretty much just to keep upselling, replicate selling, downselling if you have to, into a new funnel. Does that make sense? All right, see some head nods. All right, I'm gonna switch the camera back, make sure it's not too close to my face. And if anyone's got questions, I'm ready to take them.
Yeah, so if anyone has questions, just let's not use the chat box. Let's just have like an open discussion today. So just unmute and shout it out loud and proud.
I have a question. Where do you run ads to find clients, or
I run ads
the process of getting clients?
So you're talking about cost per acquisition. It can range pretty much. Here, I can actually look it up right now. I know that we will pay anywhere from $25 to about $100 a lead, but a lead isn't a client because we still have to end up calling them. So what we'll do is we'll end up calculating how many leads we got. We'll talk to the sales team, which, by the way, it's downsized obviously since COVID, and we'll talk about how many we closed, what we closed them for. We divide that into our lead costs, and then we have our true cost per acquisition, which I don't know how much we're willing to pay, anywhere between like $500 to $1,000 per new client, because we get most of our revenue the following months because we're on retainer base. So yeah, most of our leads are around $20 to $30, if that helps. But just so you know, it changes and varies between every industry. Like real estate leads, they'll pay anywhere from $50 to up to $150 because they're selling a $200,000 house or $500,000 house, whatever it might be. And after I answer the person's question, if they could give me just a confirmation that I answered it properly, and if you need more, let me know, and then we'll move on to the next question.
That was good.
All right, perfect, man. Who's next?
Cool. Camille, go for it.
Hi, so one of my questions was, what's the greatest challenge in trying to target ads towards a specific age group if you're not in that age group?
Okay, here, let me write this down, because this is actually one of the things that I wanted to include in that email that you guys send out. Okay, so, oh man, we created a thing called a conversation cube. And what it is pretty much before you do the conversation cube, you have to understand who your audience is first. So what I'll send you guys is our pretty much audience avatar creation list. And it's pretty much just questions to understand more, because if you don't know them, you definitely can't sell to them. And then we use a thing called the conversation cube, pretty much to strategically tell us, like, okay, who are these people? So do you have a specific age, by the way, to kind of help me form this avatar for you?
Yeah, let's say you're trying to sell, or let's say you're trying to sell to specifically 30 to, or I don't know, 20 to 30-year-olds.
Okay, now what are you selling them?
A software that, or wait, I'll change my mind. Sorry. What if you're selling a 40 to 50-year-olds a software that they don't know how to use, or like they wouldn't know how to use?
That is very, very difficult. I've done consulting with people that are 60s, 70s, and 80s and got into actual arguments with them because I was trying to just very kindly show them how to use Zoom. So it is a challenge. So what's the software? What's the problem that you're solving for them?
Maybe it's to increase efficiency between something, like it's a software that can speed up organization of, I don't know, like data.
Okay. So you're saving time and maybe organization. All right. So let's say that you went through the audience avatar list, and it pretty much is a sneaky and clever way of asking, like, where are they? What's their demographic? What's their behavioral? And what's their psychology, right? So that only does the objective of getting in front of them. That is not hard, right? Like getting your content in front of these people, Facebook makes it super easy. Now, getting those people to watch your content, consume your content, understand your content, and then, I mean, the whole objective is to get them to click on your call to action. I would not do a photo, right? Because these people are just going to scan through and not resonate with it. I'd probably do depending on how complicated the software is, I might do a 3 to 5 minute video. Obviously, I don't know if you guys have heard the expression of FAB, features, attributes, or I'm sorry, advantages and benefits, but pretty much first hooking them. So there's a thing called hook story sell, or sorry, let's see, hook story. I want to send that to you guys too. Hook story offer. So you first have to hook them, right? And if they're in the 40 to 50 thing and you're talking already about how it's complicated for them to learn new stuff, I'd probably just shoot your shot with that, making it contextualized and relevant to them, which is like, there's nothing worse than getting a new software that benefits you, saves time and organizes all your stuff, but you don't know how to use it, right? And then you would go into talking about how your software is different. And what's nice is, I could pull up something, but what's nice is you could actually do a video views campaign. This is actually one of our strategies that we use for a real estate agent. It's really, really nice. So let's say that you got all your detailed targeting correct. You created a video that's 3 to 5 minutes long. You have that hook, right? Telling them, we understand you so much that it's why we made this way. But you do a video views campaign, right? The whole objective for Facebook, and I speak to Facebook truly as if it's a person, and I go, hey, Facebook, I want you just to have people view this as much as I can. Don't go for conversion. I just want people to view it. So it goes, okay, we're going to do a 10-day campaign with $1,000. You go back on the 10th day. What's nice about Facebook, and let me see if I can actually go to performance, video views. I got to move the phone real fast so you can see it, and I'll explain it as I go. So what's nice is you can actually go in and see how far people watched into your video. So to make the numbers simple, let's call it a 10-minute video. So you go in, Facebook will allow you to retarget people that have watched 25%, 50%, 75%, or 90% of your video. And how I like to look at that is cold, warm, and hot people, because the people that are going to drop off the first 25 to 50%, you hooked them, but they just weren't interested. It didn't resonate with them. But the people that watch 90% of your video are definitely like a high-end candidate for potentially wanting it. Those are the people that I would do a second campaign to with conversion. Now, depending on the price of what your software is, if it was less than $100, you could just send them to a direct sales page. If it was anywhere from $250 to $1,000, that more a webinar-based thing. You're not going to sell it online unless you really have a strong brand or name. So that's going to be just getting a lead and then calling them afterwards. I believe I answered the question. I'm still going to look this up, but would you let me know if that answers your question?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. By the way, is there a software that exists? Or is that just
No, it was just something I found like a few days ago in like a consulting case, but I just thought it was really interesting because like I read the consulting case and I was like, yeah, but they're selling software to people who might not know how to use it. And I was like, okay, let me ask this marketing person what they think and how they would strategize.
No, I love it. Yeah, I worked with a financial advisor probably 2 months ago, and he works on, he works on sending money offshores, and that's technically like a difficult thing. But our approach was, we went into Facebook. They have an option where you can target actually the highest incomed area codes in a state. Now, when you first start out, you don't have to do this, but when you get advanced, you really need to know where the data is coming from. So like some people would just go, oh, United States, and run an ad. What we really did was like, we ran a campaign and then we split it by state and we split it by city. And then eventually we found out like who was converting, but we found out that it was a lot for people to comprehend. So what we did is we had a 3-minute video that sent them to a landing page that had like an hour-long video, and you weren't able to submit submit your lead form until it was finished watching. And even the lead form was like pretty extensive on asking you your information. And that's a strategy too of trying to push out people that aren't serious, because I don't know about you guys, like I don't give my name or email to anyone anymore. And I'm especially not giving them my home address, my phone number, my annual income. But the people that were interested in it did submit. So it was fun, but it was definitely challenging to get people to understand like what it was you're trying to do. It's possible though. All right, we got another question?
Yeah, Jake, I had a question.
Let's go, man.
Camille, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I had a follow-up to what you just said. So all that information, that's public, right? It's not like invasion of privacy or anything?
Which information?
The area code of like how much people make and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's totally public. It's totally legal, if that makes sense. What it is if you, and I don't know where it is. I did this reading a long time ago. I don't know if you know this about your data, and if you guys have ever watched the Great Hack. It's on Netflix. It's a super good. It's like a documentary plus storytelling. It's kind of scary, to be honest, even as a digital marketer. But pretty much, there's all these companies that share information, and when I say share, it's sell. And Facebook is pretty much buying this information that they get from credit cards, from real estate agents, from blah blah blah, and they can associate it to your name and your email address and your phone number. But here's the nice thing, and why they don't cross the boundary of privacy, is they don't tell me your name. They don't tell me anyone's name and like who I'm getting in front of. They're just doing that, if that makes sense. That's their loophole, is like, how do you pronounce your name? Camille? Okay, so Camille, you own a house. I can, in the Pismo Beach area, I can go into Facebook, I can say Pismo Beach, I can try to find homeowners. Let's actually say it's on YouTube, because I can target homeowners on YouTube. And I go, I want people in Pismo that own a house. I'm gonna target you, but I don't know your name, I don't know your address, I don't know that. So that's where your privacy is safe. And then I think I found the ads, but go ahead, let's go with the next question.
Yeah, Jake, I think it would be helpful for a lot of people. So a lot of times when you start a business or a company, you tend to kind of find like 2 to 3 archetypes of customers that you want to serve. Mm-hmm. And so when you're developing kind of a marketing campaign, how do you kind of make sure you're marketing to both of these archetypes and doing so effectively?
Can you define the archetypes that you mean? Are you talking about like individual avatars?
Yeah. So like, I guess an example would be if I have maybe in a platform that wants to like bring environmental awareness, maybe the people I'm targeting are the people who are like interested but don't know a lot, and then the people who do know a lot and are like more change, you know. So I have separate kind of areas that I want to pull, and I want to make sure I bring both of these customers in.
Yeah. I don't think I understand the question fully, but I'll give it a shot, and you can tell me if I'm not on the right track. So I'm definitely going to send you that conversation cube, because when I talk to a novice, like I'm going to use my own example, we use different strategies for the same stuff. So for instance, For high-end clients, we go on LinkedIn because we can target businesses by how many employees they have, how long they've been in business. You know, we have our own requirements. We know that if they have over 35 full-time employees and they've been established for 5 years, like most likely they're going to be able to afford our premium, and we write very differently to them. Now, I don't know if you guys are into engineering, but I am. So how I want to explain this is, you know, X plus Y equals Z, in the sense of like, we would speak to them using acronyms that most people wouldn't know. Like, did your last digital marketing company have CTAs too high to where you never saw an ROAS on, by the way, we don't speak this way, I'm just kind of hiking it up a little, on your last campaigns, right? But on the other hand, we have this strategy that we're implementing right now, and it's working super well, where Facebook is always incentivizing small businesses to get into digital marketing by just boosting a post, because they make it so simple. It's like, hey, you know, just do $5 a day, and they give you a limited amount of options that you can choose, like mainly awareness and engagement. You can't even really choose the call to action. And to be honest, I love and hate it, because I totally understand that it makes some of these people feel good, like they're getting engagement and they're getting awareness. But it also kind of breaks my heart, because I know that Facebook is a business. Always remember that Facebook is a business, and they're getting money, and they're kind of limiting what these people can do. So with the same strategy of going to LinkedIn and speaking to them super professionally, because I know they're super professional, we actually now have like a pop-up Facebook group, and we run ads to small businesses, and we speak to them so simple. And the main headline is, do not waste your money on boosting your boosting your posts. And then we go into details of like why it's bad. And so where we have the one at LinkedIn, going straight to a landing page where we get a lead gen and we set up a consultation to talk to them. Over here, it's a little bit longer of a process. It's, if you click this, we bring you to our Facebook pop-up group, where to get in, you have to give us your email. When you get into the Facebook group, there's actually 3 units that teaches you, like, first of all, what a boosted post is, then how to run ads, and then how to run your first ad, and then how to analyze the data so that you can actually like progress. So I think that's the best way to answer your question, which is 2 people for the same reason, but speaking to them differently.
Yeah, I think like that definitely answered my question, and as a follow-up to that, so in this case you're able to kind of make the separation by means of platform. But let's say like they, you know, both of these customers are on Instagram. Like, how do you make sure you put out content that engages both, but then, you know, doesn't disengage the other one? Like, how do you maintain that balance?
That I couldn't tell you, other than just putting out the 2 pieces of content and not the one. Because see, like, I come from an engineering background, and guys, that was ASE. He refers to it as the PACE system, and that stands for practical, action, social, and emotional. And those are just like a very generalized type of personality. We all have those things, but you lay them in a certain order. Like, I'm super practical. I don't care about your deals that are going on. I don't care about if you fluff it up and there's emotions on this sale. I do like spending time with friends, but like, it's not going to adjust my buying decision or like my consumption of content decision. I want to know facts. I want to know figures. I want to walk away with something. I want all the details. So here's the thing is, you could write a piece of content for an action-oriented person, like trying to get them out of bed for some reason, and being like, trying to think of like motivational things that I see, just like, get up, make your bed, start your day, like it'll whatever. That doesn't work for me. But if it talked about, what was the actual study? Like, people that write their schedule the night before are like 80% more likely to follow through the next day. Like, that hits me. So you can still, I would just rewrite the content twice for both audiences and post, which actually is kind of a blessing, because most people aren't putting out enough content anyways.
Got it. Yeah, that helps a lot.
And by the way, if you guys see me drinking from this milk jug, it's because I'm doing 75 hard. So have to drink from this for measuring reasons. We just talked about how it's practical, so don't judge me. All right, anybody else got a question? And Vita looks like she has a question, but she's not going to ask. Yeah, I'm watching.
I actually do have a question.
I knew it looked like you did.
So how much time is usually needed to be invested, like usually each month or depending on how long the campaign is, to make sure like the digital marketing strategies are effective?
So in the beginning, and I love this question because it reminds me of one of my favorite people to listen to, which is Jim Rohn. And he says, in the beginning, it's a numbers game, both numbers and how many people you have to call and how many hours you have to invest. If you were to ask me this 4 years ago, I would be like the entire month. Like honestly, like one client I would just be obsessed with, and I'd want to get everything perfect. And because to be honest, in a way, and I was honest with my clients, they were paying me to learn. So I was making a lot of mistakes, but as long as they made money, they were happy. Now it's like we establish somebody in 15 to 30 hours. So, but we have the whole process. We have standard operating procedures now. So it's no longer like, what do I do? It is literally, we have our, let's see if I remember it correctly. We have our pre-qualifying phase, we have our qualifying phase, we have our introductory phase, we have our discovery phase, we have our proposal phase, and then we have our closing phase, and then we have our commencement phase. So in other words, we have to pre-qualify them before we talk to them, which we didn't used to have, so it actually wasted a lot of time. Then we have to verify that our pre-qualification is actually true, which means we contact them in our introductory conversation, which is just being human, saying hi, asking them if they would actually even be interested in this service. And that conversation is like 3 to 5 minutes. And then we try to set up a schedule for the discovery call, which now we have a list, which is strategic discovery questions to obviously make sure that they can afford us, get intel on previous marketing, like really see if not only they're a right fit for us, but we're a right fit for them. And then we'll go, if they say yes, we have a process. If they say no, we have a process. If they say yes, we put our proposal together, which is nice and all templated now. And then we have our proposal meeting, which should only be about 15 minutes, which is what we just go over, what we pretty much talk about in the discovery meeting. If they say yes again, we have a commencement meeting with who's ever involved, because everybody needs to be on track. We've made this mistake a lot in the beginning where like we'll do really good marketing for them, but their team won't follow up on the leads. And the owner typically has a higher emotional connection with their staff, so they want to blame us. And I get it. It's human nature. And then after the commencement meeting, we get into the fulfillment process, and we have week 1 through 6, and it varies depending on whether it's e-commerce or coaching or whatever. We have the process. It's a test, stabilize, and then scale, and pretty much repeat sales, and then we just fall back into test, stabilize, and scale. So as you can tell, now it's short for us, but it used to be a really long time.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And don't ever fear asking the question. All right, who else we got? Anyone else? Come on, now's your chance.
What are your thoughts on white labeling?
That's actually a really good question. So I do white label some things, but they didn't start out originally. So when I went with Ty Lopez, I mainly wanted to learn marketing, right? Which is actually running ads and advertisement. And I noticed that one of my friends was doing content marketing, which is pretty much just organic stuff, posting for you, doing reputation management. I tried it, I got paid for it, and then I told the client I didn't want to do it anymore. But I did notice that some people with marketing wanted that option. And so eventually, being in this industry for as long as I have, I actually met somebody that was really good at content marketing. So obviously we set up a partnership, and it actually works out really, really well. You go, hey, listen, you like doing this, I like doing this. So if you ever meet somebody that needs advertisement, you send them to me, I'll give you a referral fee. Vice versa. If I ever meet somebody that needs content marketing, I'll do that. And I don't like SEO, so now I have an SEO guy. So white labeling is great. Just It's mainly building a connection with another human.
So did you take a course with Ty Lopez then?
Yeah, so my story there is I took his social, so I used to be an iron worker at the nuclear power plant out here. And
Oh, yeah.
I just, it was a good paying job, but I got tired of it. And I wanted something new. So I bought his like $1,000 SMMA social media marketing agency course for like $1,000. And I liked it, right? I mainly like the human behavior more than the marketing. And so then I bought some of his other courses like 67 Steps, Money Accelerator. I think I have all of them now, but that's because I paid him for actual personal mentoring. I noticed that I was fast tracking so much with courses in specific niches. I guess how much it was in the tens of thousands of dollars that I just wanted to go to his house all the time and learn. And so I started going down to Beverly Hills. I can't praise the guy enough. I know he gets a lot of junk, but like he 10x'd how much money I made almost instantly. And then I got so many other courses because I just like knowing and being a professional. I got the Joe Soto course. I started doing some Grant Cardone stuff. I became Facebook certified by itself, which, by the way, guys, if you ever want to learn this, go directly to the source. Facebook has a blueprint course that's free, and it's the best course out there. Twitter has their course, the best course out there. YouTube has its course, best course out there. So yeah, I definitely invested in the beginning and then just kept investing as my revenue increased. I don't like my team knowing more than me, which I am now at that place, but I at least want to be able to keep up while they talk to me. Does that answer your question, Alexander?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does.
Cool, man. Anything else? It doesn't have to be business oriented. Most of it is, but.
Jake, you mentioned you started in engineering and you transferred to business. Could you talk about like why you made that switch, or what kind of the journey of what happened there?
Yeah, so that's a bit of an interesting story, which is just so I studied mechanical engineering. I loved drawing. I loved creating something from nothing, pretty much. I got a sales job over at Toyota, and then this is pretty much like how I like to formulate it, of how I got where I am, because it worked out in a weird way. Was which one was first? So out of high school, I got accepted to Cal Poly, and I couldn't afford it. It's not a big deal. So I went over to Quessa and just kept taking my, architecture classes. It was so good that I only had to go in on Fridays and take the test. I was so excited. But then I started learning about policies and like building restrictions, and I found out that I couldn't do anything that I wanted to. And that's also when 2008 happened. So I actually lost my job, and I didn't find another job for like 8 months. I just started doing like odds and ends to keep my head afloat. And then I got a sales job at Toyota, did that for 4 or 5 years. I loved it. Then I became an iron worker, and then I started working out at Diablo, the nuclear power plant, and they work by a thing called Six Sigma, which is the same reason why millions of planes fly, but few crash, is because they don't make mistakes. And then I got into marketing. So it actually worked out really well because I had the mechanical engineering, which was pretty much building these funnels and websites. And then engineers make things work. So the whole option was formulating these things, making them an equation, and then the conclusion, pretty much getting the sale. I've been in sales, so I understand the psychology of how people buy stuff. And then I do Six Sigma, which is when we were talking about the standard operating procedures. I don't like making mistakes twice. So that's why we have so many things like in order. So just in a weird way of luck, I found something that I enjoyed doing at 26. Thumbs up. You can say what's up.
Sophie, you want to shoot?
Yeah, as a follow.
Go ahead.
Follow up to that, to your Johnny. From when you started marketing, how have you kind of grown your team and kind of like passed on the things that you learned to other people and like kind of scaled up your business?
It's a great question. So if I could give anybody that's trying to build a business advice right out of the gate, and something that I did not do in the beginning, was anytime you create a strategy, you have to create a PDF. I just call them SOPs, that you can literally comfortably like hand over to somebody else and say, this is what you need to do. And they need to be able to read it and understand it. So all of our procedures now are like nice and tucked away. And so when you come on as a content creator or a Facebook business manager, you actually have to read our PDFs. We'll test you at the end. And then obviously we don't put you on any big accounts right away. We put you on some smaller accounts. They just to verify that you know what you're doing. And then after a trial period, we can let go of the reins and we're confident to work with you. But it's such a good question, Sophie. I really want to make that, if you are going to start a business and you are, so I don't know if you guys have ever read anyone? No? So you have to think of it like this. So just so you know, I like to hold a really high standard for myself, and I'm not an entrepreneur yet. And so when you read that book, so by the definition of entrepreneur, if you were to go buy an LLC from rocketlawyer.com, congratulations, you're an entrepreneur by definition, but I don't like that low standard. And so when I read the book E-Myth, it set a new standard for me. And it's this very simple triangle where it goes E on top, M in middle, T on bottom. And see, like, where I think all of you guys might be right now is you're on the bottom, which is a T. You're a tacticianer. It means you're doing the work. Now, eventually, your guys' next step is going to be a manager, which means you're going to have to be able to tell a tactician or somebody that you hire how to do the job that you were once just doing. And then eventually, when you become a manager, you're going to have to teach that manager how to manage your tactician or your tacticianers, multiple. So what's nice is, and how I like to explain it is, like when I started with just Facebook marketing, I was a Facebook marketer. I wore that hat. And then when I needed to go learn, perfect. Thank you, Cameron. So when you go to Instagram, I had to wear that hat. When I learned LinkedIn, I put on that hat. And eventually I wanted to become a manager. So I went to Facebook and I found somebody that could do it. And I had to take this hat off, still holding my IG one and my LinkedIn one, put a new one on where I was a manager. And now that guy wears the Facebook hat. And eventually what you want to do is you want to get to being an entrepreneur, which means you are just calling your managers that manage your tacticianers.
Okay, so in your company, I mean, that is interesting. That even applies to like a club. We like every year have to like train new people to run our club when other people graduate. But now today, are you like, I know the only founder or the only CEO of your company? Do you?
Yeah, I don't like to call myself a CEO because my company's never been bigger than like 4 people. I'm also a big fan of Gary Vee, and I like his opinion and how he despises people that put like CEO in their title. I like to use DOO, Director of Operations, because that's pretty much what I am until I've earned and deserved the title of CEO. And I think I'm going to earn that title when I actually become a verified to me entrepreneur.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
All right, we got anything else?
I have a question.
Let's go.
You said that you you pivoted like your actual like I guess career stuff, and you settled in marketing at 26. Is that what you said?
Yeah, when I was 26 is when I first got into marketing.
Okay, so I mean, what it sounded like you enjoyed the transition because it kind of all like made sense the way everything you'd done had kind of like intertwined together. But if you could speak on it, how did you deal with like the change of like entering a different just area of work, like just constantly and just figuring things out?
Well, so I'm a practical person, and then I'm action oriented. So I didn't just leap into it. And this is a question that I get quite often, and I'll happily send this to you guys because it's something that I wish I had, which I like to call it like the lifestyle phases of an entrepreneur. 5 seconds. And so I was an iron worker. We worked 16 hours a day. We weren't needed all those 16 hours. So what was really nice is when most people would like take naps, I would just be reading marketing books, because when I get involved in something, I just dive in deep. I'd automate my Gmail to send out emails at 8 a.m., even though I was writing them at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I previously had a photography business that I started, I think, in 2009. And so I had some clients previously from back then. And I was just going to dip my toe in. This is still only when I only invested $1,000. So I wasn't like too deeply invested. And I had a winery that I'd previously worked with. I think the email was something on the lines of like, hey, I'm starting this new venture. You've seen previous content. I've known conversions right away. I was just like, I noticed that your guys' Facebook page doesn't get enough engagement. Now that I think of it, I hardly knew anything back in the day. And I was like, I can increase that. So I'll work for you for free. And all you have to do is pay for my ad budget. And I explained to them, like, you guys will be paying. I won't charge you a retainer. But what the exchange was is that I'm going to get like experience. And so I had a strategy already, which was I thought I was going to be successful. And at the end of the month, then I was going to say, hey, here's my $500 a month retainer if you want to keep me. So luckily, we actually had really good success. They gave me a $500 ad budget. And I think it was back in the day, this is many years ago, we were paying like a cent per engagement. So like they just were flooded. Every post they had, 250 comments, a bunch of shares, blah, blah, blah. Obviously that dripped down to sales. And at the 30th, I was like, okay, like, I've had a blast. Thanks again. And they're like, no, like, let's talk business. So we signed it. And as soon as I got the $500, and this is where I would advise you guys don't make mistakes, is my mind goes, if I can make 500, I can make 5,000. If I can make 5,000, I can make 50,000, right? Like, very impatient of myself. And so that's when I had money in the bank. So I was like, now I'm investing. I'm buying books. I'm going down to Ty Lopez's house. Like, I set a deadline, 3 months. I'm going to be done being an iron worker. Like, I took that success, and this is why we call it, it clicked, leverage attention, was as soon as I got that vineyard a success story, a lot of people just go like, okay, that's fine. But see, what's nice is, I don't know about how you guys do this, but if you see something and you see success working for somebody else, like, you want that. So what I did is I took that success with a winery. I made a nice, exclusive 15-mile radius. And then I started to send it to other vineyards. And I was like, hey, if you guys want this success also, I can replicate it for you. And then I got 3 clients. And then I think as soon as I started making more money than my iron working job, I took my hat off. It actually worked out perfectly because I was there for 3 years, and they were like, hey, you're out. Like, not in a bad way. They didn't fire me. That's how iron workers work, just so you know. Just like, hey, we don't have the work, so, we'll call you back when we have it. And I went, you know what? Don't worry about it. Like, I took my hat off and took a photo of it so I get to, like, remember that day. And this is what I would tell you guys not to do, all right? This is where you need to have your side hobby double your current income before you leave, because I wasn't thinking ahead. I was blinded by the new life that I was going to live. And there were seasons. So the vineyards closed down at a certain time because people don't come out during the winter. And guess what? So does their retainer. And so I went from, let's say, $3,000 a month just to $500 a month. And I had my expenses, and I struggled for a while, and then the seasons came back. But it was kind of nice because it pushed me to diversify. So I started getting into chiropractors, dentists, people that could afford retail. I learned that I hated retail in store, but I loved it online. So it just became this, in a way, me split testing with my life now that I do on marketing. What was the original? That I believe that answers it, but I just want to make sure I answered all of it. Is it Armin, right?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I don't remember where we started at.
Okay.
You've offered enough where I can say you definitely covered it, plus some. So
okay, all right. As long as I deliver value, that's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, you 100% did.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the one thing I'll cap on that is I'll send it because it would have saved me. It would have been a lifesaver. And again, I'm an engineer, so everything's formulas. So whether you guys know it or not right now, you live by a certain lifestyle. And I hope that your lifestyle is below the means of how much money you make, because otherwise you're in debt. So what happens is lifestyle, I like to refer to it as LS equals your active income, which I like to refer to as A. So LS equals A. Now, if you want to change your lifestyle, which means you guys want more, which there's nothing wrong with wanting more or wanting less. I don't care how you want to live your life. I'm just saying, if you do eventually want to become entrepreneurs and have your own business, it's a good equation to go LS, lifestyle, equals your current active income plus SH, which is side hobby. Now, that side hobby into your current active income at 2 times before you get rid of your secure job. And then in a weird way, you're back at lifestyle equals active income. And then what the next phase becomes, though, is turning that active income into a passive income. Now, I know passive income is a word that's thrown out there a lot, and it's so attractive. Just so you know, I don't want to say it's full of bullshit, and I don't know if I can cuss on here, so I'm sorry if I did. But it kind of is, because passive pretty much means to me that you're going to be dedicating less than 10 hours a month on that object. And that's pretty much what we were talking about earlier, which is you're going to be a tacticianer in the beginning, which is going to be a lot of hours. Eventually, you're going to make enough money to where you can hire a teammate. You're probably still going to work with them and get all your schedules put into place. Then you're become a manager. And becoming a manager means that you're still making a little money. You're paying them a premium. You got a little bit more time in your schedule, which is nice. But guess what? You're going to spend that time filling other positions with other tacticianers. And trust me, it's a lot of work, but eventually you're going to have enough tacticianers. You're going to be a manager, and then you get to take that leap and say, I need you to manage these people. And now you have passive income, which is you just talk to your manager, I don't know, 2 hours a week out of the month. And then this is the nice part. You know how they say you need 7 sources of income? Guess what? That equation now becomes LS equals TA plus A. You start a new active income and it starts all over. I hope I'm not losing you guys with my engineer talk.
No, it's definitely a good visual. Like, I mean, if you like think of.
I will send you guys the visuals, so don't worry about it.
No, it's a great visual. We have.
All right, guys. 7 p.m. So I gotta be gone in 15 minutes. If somebody wants to get a last question in, or.
Yeah, I think I have a good question to kind of end on. So you've obviously kind of, made your way and found yourself in marketing, and like you said, started to diversify and expand. And, a lot of us college students maybe quite don't know what we want to do yet. So do you have any advice as far as like how to figure out like what you're good at, or like how to go about that process?
This one's always a tricky one, because this is actually something that I researched a lot when I was your guys' age, was like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And how old is everybody in here? Like around the age of what, 20?
Yeah, 18 to 21.
Okay, so just so you guys know, I turned 30 last April. And I don't feel that different from when I was the age of 23, just so you guys know. Yeah, so you have to understand, I went from being a busser, and I only did that job because my brother worked there, to selling shoes because I didn't want to be a busser anymore because I thought I was above it, which I went to selling shoes, so it's ridiculous. Then I went to selling cars, which was nice, but I didn't like the sales industry. Then I went to being an iron worker because sales weren't paying my bills, so I just did it for money. And then I watched, and I'm going to get deep with you just because I like being raw and real. I watched every month I would go back to being an iron worker. I would hear about one of our people dying, whether it be falling off a building or getting hit by a bar, impaled. It's real stuff. So I wanted out of that industry. Then I learned about the nuclear power plant, and they work completely different. They're all about safety over efficiency. So I just applied there. That's actually a really hilarious story, but we don't have the time for it. And just in a weird way, like I was going through life, but in a subliminal message underneath it. And this is what I learned when I was studying it, is like, if I were to do it all over again, I would just go apply to a place, work there for as long as it takes for me to know I have interest in it, like a month, because you got to give it at least like enough time. And I know this is going to seem ridiculous, but I'm dead serious if this is what I tell people, is I work there for a month to 3 months. I take away from it what I can, and then I would quit if I didn't like it, and I'd go try something else. And I would just try to speed up the process of being in a bunch of different industries as fast as I can. And there's this thing of like, I don't know what it is for you guys. For me, it would be pride. Like, I don't like committing to somebody and then bailing a month later because it just feels wrong. But in a selfish way, like, I have to do what's right for me. That's what I would have done. So my advice would just be like, literally go out and experiment as much as you can. And, if you don't want to commit as much as you can, like, see if you can. People will take free labor. Like, I don't know if you need to wash dishes to know that you hate washing dishes, but call up a restaurant and be like, hey, I want to know that I hate washing dishes. Can I come in on Wednesday? And like, you'll probably think you're crazy, but you got to just push past that. And that would be my advice, is just really go find what you love and equally go find what you hate.
A solid note to end on.
Okay, so I'm just,
Yeah, it is
1 second. So
7:02.
I'm going to send you guys lifestyle equation of an entrepreneur, avatar audience list, and the conversion cube. And then if you want, I'll give you guys my email too. If you guys ever have any questions, just send me a direct email. But direct message is so much better. And I'll just send those direct links to you, Kellen, and you can provide it to them. Cool. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jake. Everyone, don't forget to, where is my little thing? There it is. Nope, that's not it. That's my coding. Where's the presentation? Whatever, we'll say it out loud. Don't forget to stay connected with us, CPE, on all of our social media handles and our website. If you don't have it, stick around and I will send it to you through chat. Come by next week as well, Tuesday 6 to 7. We're having more of an open discussion with the officer board members and the associates board. So come out, meet some people, network a little bit. And yeah, it's going to be super fun. So please show up. And that wraps up today. We will be here for a little bit if anyone wants to talk about anything and anything
Cool.
at all.
I'm going to get out of here, but I just want to thank you guys all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Jake. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, you guys.
And